Dear Jeff, by the time you read this letter, I will have left you. I know it might seem a little silly to leave a breakup letter, but I simply can't bear the thought of facing the inevitable scene that would follow a confrontation. You might call me a coward, and perhaps I am, but I can't stomach the pain I know I'll cause you. You see, I've grown weary of living the same monotonous life we've shared for the past 28 years, plus the 4 years we dated back in college. It's not that I don't appreciate the way you anticipate my every thought, finishing my sentences before I can, or the comforting touch of your hands on my neck or legs, but it's becoming suffocating. I feel as though I've lost my own sense of self, and it's terrifying. And then there's our sex life. I know this will likely be the most contentious point for you, but I can't keep pretending. Yes, I've often rebuffed your advances, preferring to wait until I'm in the mood on my own terms. But it's not because I don't desire you, quite the contrary. Your desire for me is what ignites my own passion, but I've held back, unable to reconcile the image of you as the father of our children with the idea of sexual exploration. It felt inappropriate, like a boundary I couldn't cross. I know it sounds hypocritical and selfish, and perhaps it is, but it's the truth. I need excitement, Jeff. I crave the thrill of the chase, the uncertainty of new love. And I know you can't provide that anymore. You were so vibrant when we were young, strumming your guitar alongside Buddy in the band, the wind whipping through your blonde hair as you rode your Harley, clad in that sexy leather jacket. You used to wow me on the dance floor, whether it was at a rock and roll club or a ballroom. You painted such beautiful pictures of our future together and the family we would raise. But somewhere along the way, we grew old and complacent, settling into a routine that stifled our passion. The rock concerts were replaced by football coaching sessions, and your Harley now sits idle in the garage, buried beneath the sports gear of our children. My knees ache too much to dance, and the minivan life that you've grown to love just doesn't sit right with me anymore. I want something more, something different. Please know that I never cheated on you. You remain the only man I've ever been intimate with. But I've met other men who pique my interest, and rather than betray you in secret, I felt it was best to end things between us. I couldn't bear the thought of disrespecting you in that way. I've always loved you too much for that. I've spoken with Sam and asked him to handle our divorce proceedings. He's taken care of everything, leaving you with everything except my clothes and personal belongings, which I've already taken with me. I've even split my pension with you and assumed half of our debts, excluding the mortgage. It's only fair, and fairness is important to me. Please allow yourself to grieve in private. When we inevitably cross paths at our children's events, let's continue to avoid causing a scene. I hope that one day we can look back on our time together with fondness, even amidst the pain of our parting. As you read this, I've already made the difficult decision to leave. Writing this letter might seem trivial, but I couldn't bear the thought of confronting you and causing more pain. You might label me a coward, and in some ways I might be, but I can't ignore the turmoil within me any longer. Living the same routine for the past 28 years, plus the 4 years of our college romance, has left me feeling drained. It's not that I don't cherish the way you understand me almost instinctively, finishing my sentences and offering comfort with your touch. But lately, it feels like I'm losing myself in our relationship, and that's something I can't ignore. Our sex life has also been a source of tension. I've often turned down your advances, not because I lack desire, but because I've struggled to reconcile our intimate moments with the image of you as the father of our children. It felt like crossing a line I wasn't comfortable with. I know it sounds selfish and contradictory, but it's the truth. I yearn for excitement, Jeff, the thrill of new experiences and the uncertainty of fresh love. I know you can't provide that anymore. Remember how vibrant you were in our youth? Strumming your guitar with Buddy, the wind tousling your blonde locks as you rode your Harley, exuding confidence in that leather jacket. You used to sweep me off my feet on the dance floor, whether it was at a rock concert or a formal ballroom. We painted beautiful pictures of our future together, raising a family and sharing adventures. But somewhere along the way, we lost that spark and settled into a monotonous routine. The rock concerts have been replaced by football coaching sessions, and your Harley now gathers dust in the garage, buried under our children's sports equipment. My knees ache too much. For dancing, and the minivan lifestyle you've embraced no longer feels fulfilling to me. I crave something different, something more. I want you to know that I've never betrayed your trust. You're the only man I've ever been with intimately. But I've met others who pique my interest, and rather than deceive you in secret, I chose to end things between us. I couldn't bear the thought of betraying you that way. My love for you has always been too genuine for deceit. I've spoken with Sam and asked him to handle our divorce proceedings. He's sorted everything out, leaving you with everything except my personal belongings, which I've taken with me. I've also split my pension with you and taken on half of our debts, excluding the mortgage. It's only fair, and fairness is crucial to me. Please, allow yourself to grieve in private. Let's avoid causing a scene when we cross paths at our children's events. Despite the pain of our parting, I hope we can someday look back on our time together with fondness. After signing the divorce papers with Sam, I was determined to transform our house into my own sanctuary. The pink walls and frilly curtains were swiftly replaced with a fresh coat of paint and new carpeting. I even decided to install new drywall, erasing any remnants of our old life together. Sam assured me that since the divorce was uncontested and handled by a single lawyer, it would be finalized closer to the start of the school year. Feeling liberated, I sold the minivan and made a spontaneous decision to visit a small dealership downtown. There, I found my dream car, a 1976 Triumph Spitfire convertible in British racing green with beige leather upholstery and chrome alloy wheels. Driving it home, I felt a sense of freedom I hadn't experienced in years. Revitalizing the garage was a breeze once I cleared out the clutter. I unpacked my beloved Harley, ready to embrace the open road once again. But the most pivotal moment came when I reached out to Buddy, my oldest friend. In a matter of days, Buddy and the rest of our old bandmates rallied around me, refusing to let me navigate through this tumultuous time alone. Buddy, who had been by my side since third grade, understood the gravity of the situation. Our band may have disbanded long ago, but the camaraderie among us remained strong. With Buddy's support, we decided to breathe new life into our music. Before I knew it, we were booking gigs at local clubs and restaurants, reigniting the passion we once shared for performing. The response from our community was overwhelming. Tradesmen and artisans flocked to my house, eager to lend their expertise in refurbishing my home. Within weeks, my once dreary abode had been transformed into a vibrant space, both inside and out. It became a hub for impromptu gatherings and lively parties, drawing in crowds of friends and admirers. As word spread about my newly renovated home and budding music career, the atmosphere became electric. I found myself surrounded by a sea of faces, both familiar and new, all eager to share in the excitement of my newfound freedom. Despite my initial reluctance to dive into a new relationship, the universe seemed intent on steering me towards a fresh start. Buddy's suggestion to revive our band was a stroke of genius. We hit the stage with renewed energy and enthusiasm, captivating audiences with our timeless tunes. It was as if we had never missed a beat. Our fans, loyal as ever, embraced us with open arms, relishing the opportunity to relive cherished memories and create new ones together. In the midst of chaos and upheaval, I found solace in music and companionship. With Buddy and the band by my side, I embarked on a journey of self-discovery and reinvention. And as the days turned into nights filled with laughter and music, I realized that sometimes the most unexpected endings lead to the most extraordinary beginnings. As my life underwent a radical transformation in the wake of Ellen's departure, my sons became pillars of support, visiting me frequently and assisting with repairs around the house. They even joined me on occasions when Buddy and the band performed, seamlessly blending into the lively atmosphere. I made it clear to them that their mother shouldn't be informed of my activities, and they respected my wishes diligently. Similarly, my daughter, who resided in Australia with her fiancé, received instructions to maintain silence about my affairs to her mother. Their loyalty and honesty reassured me, and I found comfort in knowing that Ellen remained oblivious to my endeavors. To combat the loneliness that threatened to engulf me, I dedicated myself to cultivating healthy habits. I revamped my diet, intensified my exercise routine, and immersed myself in swimming, running, and cycling. Even before hitting the stage with Buddy and the band, I made sure to prioritize my physical fitness. Within a month of Ellen's departure, I felt a sense of readiness to respond to her farewell letter. Keeping it brief, I thanked her for her honesty and bid her goodbye. With no need for her new address, I didn't bother seeking it out. Rumors of Ellen's romantic escapades soon reached me, but I chose to remain indifferent. Although tempted to dwell on her actions, I focused instead on my own happiness and well-being. The end of summer marked a new beginning for me, and I refused to let nostalgia hold me back. As my musical career gained momentum, Buddy and I immersed ourselves in performances at various festivals and events. The frenzy of activity kept me occupied, and I almost forgot about the impending finalization of our divorce. On the eve of my official single status, I found myself caught up in the electrifying atmosphere of an arts festival street fair. Surrounded by alluring women, I reveled in the attention, relishing the newfound freedom of singlehood. The band's performance was a resounding success, drawing crowds and igniting a fervor among listeners. The sale of our music albums, a mix of old and new tracks, further solidified our presence in the music scene. Amidst the chaos, I remained oblivious to Ellen's presence in the crowd. Unbeknownst to me, she attempted to approach backstage, only to be thwarted by the sight of another woman perched behind me on my Harley. Michelle, a vivacious blonde, caught my attention, and we shared an instant connection. As she wrapped her arms around me, I felt alive and invigorated, swept up in the whirlwind of passion and desire. Throughout the night, Michelle captivated me with her charm and allure, leaving an indelible mark on my memory. Despite the physical exhaustion that followed, I reveled in the exhilaration of the moment, grateful for the unexpected encounter. As I rode away with Michelle by my side, I remained oblivious to the turmoil brewing within Ellen. While I missed her presence in that moment, I found solace in the newfound romance that had blossomed before me. In the unwavering camaraderie of our band, a silent code existed, especially when it came to matters of the heart. We believed in a brotherhood that transcended the music, a bond that held firm even in the face of romantic turmoil. So, when Ellen, accompanied by her youthful companion and another couple, sauntered into Jim's during our Friday night set, the unspoken agreement among us sparked into action. My heart raced, not from nerves, but a mix of anticipation and a touch of spite, as I signaled to the band to deviate from our planned set list. It was a ritual of sorts, playing a specific song when faced with the specter of past loves, a ritual that tonight found its target in Ellen. The choice was a Lenny Kravitz-inspired melody, one that oozed soul and heartache, its slower tempo allowing the lyrics to seep into the very fabric of the evening. The guitar solos, usually a highlight, tonight felt almost cathartic, an emotional release that resonated with the crowd. While I was lost in the performance, Buddy's wife later recounted how Ellen's composure crumbled under the weight of the lyrics, tears betraying her facade as the song's message hit too close to home. Her departure from the venue was a silent testament to the song's impact, leaving her young suitor and their friends behind, an indication of cracks in their seemingly idyllic relationship. The aftermath of that night unfolded in whispers and rumors, eventually finding its way to me through a visit from my eldest son. Ellen's relationship with her younger lover had soured, a clash of lifestyles and expectations eroding their brief union. The revelation that Ellen had forfeited her claim to our shared assets in the divorce, under the mistaken belief it would cement her new relationship, painted her companion in a mercenary light. It was a realization that came too late, as he sought the comfort of our once shared home, a prize now beyond his reach thanks to a prenuptial agreement crafted by Ellen's protective father. This agreement, designed to safeguard against precisely such eventualities, left Ellen with nothing but the stark reality of her choices. The news of her spending a tearful night on the phone with our children, seeking solace in their voices, stirred a complex cocktail of emotions within me. While part of me empathized with her plight, the larger part remained resolute. My mourning for our marriage had concluded, and with it, any obligation to shoulder her burdens. The children's plea for reconciliation, a gesture of familial restoration, met with my firm refusal. To welcome Ellen back, even under the guise of support, would invite a male anomaly of emotional turmoil into my life once again. The challenges we faced together before our separation, particularly Ellen's menopausal journey, were difficult enough without adding the layers of rejection and humiliation she now faced. Accepting her back would not only resurrect past grievances, but also place upon Embracing my newfound singlehood, I found solace in the simplicity and order of my life. Gone were the days of navigating the complexities of a shared life with Ellen. Now, my home was a bastion of tranquility, unmarred by clutter or the remnants of a life once lived together. My days were rich with the joy of teaching, the thrill of performing with my band, and the personal fulfillment that came from connecting with audiences and friends alike. The allure of being a sought-after, single musician added an unexpected zest to my social life, a chapter I never envisioned for myself in my golden years. Despite my contentment, the situation with Ellen and our children remained a thread woven into the fabric of my life. When Ellen found herself in need of a fresh start, I facilitated it from a distance, providing practical support without inviting her back into the intimate sphere of my existence. This delicate balance allowed me to maintain my peace while ensuring she had the means to rebuild. The rumor mill, fueled by my active lifestyle and visible signs of newfound freedom, spun tales that I found amusing rather than concerning. My life was filled with music, camaraderie, and social gatherings that were the envy of many. This tapestry of experiences was enriched by a spontaneous decision to fulfill a long-held dream of celebrating the release of Beaujolais Nouveau in France for Thanksgiving, a plan that symbolized my liberation from past constraints. However, the fabric of family ties proved stronger than anticipated. My son's request for a family Christmas, orchestrated with the precision of a diplomat, nudged open a door I thought I had firmly closed. Reluctantly, I agreed, setting clear boundaries to navigate the delicate dynamics of our reassembled family unit. The revelation of Ellen's loneliness struck a chord, yet I was resolute in keeping our interactions focused on familial bonds rather than delving into the personal realms we had left behind. The anticipation of a family reunion, the first since our children had embarked on their own lives, brought an unexpected poignancy to the holiday season. Ellen's arrival, hesitant and fraught with unspoken emotions, was a reminder of the shared history that, despite everything, connected us all. The reunion, marked by genuine moments of joy and rediscovery, unfolded within the newly remodeled spaces of our family home, now a testament to change and renewal. This gathering was not just a celebration of the festive season, but a subtle acknowledgement of the threads of affection, memory, and shared history that, despite the passage of time and the waters that had flowed under our collective bridge, still held us together in some ineffable way. As Christmas approached, I found myself enveloped in a familiar sense of anticipation, despite the changed dynamics of my life. The halls of my home, adorned with cherished decorations collected over the years, echoed with the festive spirit of the season. Nutcrackers stood tall, garlands adorned every surface, and the scent of warm cider mingled with the crackling of the newly added fireplace, casting a cozy glow over the scene. The centerpiece of it all was the Christmas tree, proudly displaying ornaments accumulated from holiday markets and handmade treasures crafted in art classes long ago. Its presence symbolized continuity, a reminder of the enduring traditions that bound our family together, despite the fractures that had emerged. As I prepared for the arrival of my family, I spared no effort in ensuring that every detail was perfect. The table was set with heirloom china, a gift from Ellen's grandmother, evoking memories of our wedding day and the promises we had made. Plates of homemade cookies and fudge dotted every surface, a testament to the festive indulgence that awaited us. The children's rooms, restored to their former glory with a few adjustments to reflect their maturity, served as a nostalgic backdrop for the holiday celebrations. My daughter's room, once adorned in vibrant pink, now boasted a softer, more subdued palette, a subtle nod to the passage of time. The spacious guest room had been transformed into a studio, a creative haven equipped with all the essentials for musical pursuits. Instruments stood ready for impromptu jam sessions, a reminder of the shared passion that had brought us together as a family. As the festivities began, the air was alive with laughter and excitement. The sight of Christmas stockings, including one for Ellen, sparked a rush of childhood glee as the children eagerly delved into their treasures. Memories mingled with the scent of freshly baked cookies, and for a moment, it felt as though time stood still. Amidst the joyous chaos, I found myself filled with a profound sense of gratitude. The simple act of being together, of sharing laughter and love, was the greatest gift of all. As we exchanged presents and shared stories, the warmth of family enveloped us like a comforting embrace. Ellen lingered in the midst of it, all, her presence a reminder of the shared history that bound us together. In her embrace, I felt a fleeting sense of familiarity, a reminder of the love that had once defined us as a couple. As the evening drew to a close, guitars emerged, and music filled the air. In the shared melodies and harmonies, I found solace, a reminder that despite the changes that had reshaped our lives, some things remained unchanged. The bonds of family, forged in love and strengthened by tradition, endured, a beacon of hope and joy in the midst of life's uncertainties. As the night waned and the echoes of Christmas laughter faded, we began to retire to our respective bedrooms. Ellen, pausing by the hallway closet to retrieve her coat, expressed her gratitude for the day we had shared. Her words carried a weight of longing, a yearning for the family moments that had once defined our lives together. "I miss family time the most," she confessed, her voice tinged with regret. "The children have grown, and they live their own lives now, but I miss the family time we had, our time as a couple." Her admission hung heavy in the air, a poignant reminder of the life we had built and the fragments that remained. I reached out to reassure her, to absolve her of the burden she carried. "Don't blame yourself," I offered gently. "We always encourage the children to follow their dreams, to seek happiness. That's what you did. Our life may be different now, but it's not without its joys." She looked at me incredulously, tears welling in her eyes. "Do you feel nostalgic at all? Do you regret what we lost?" In that moment, I saw her pain, the weight of her remorse bearing down upon her. I held her close as she broke down, her tears a testament to the wounds that time had yet to heal. It pained me to see her suffer, to witness the depth of her regret. As she left, her sobs echoing in the silence of the night, I couldn't help but feel a pang of sadness. Yet, amidst the sorrow, there was a glimmer of understanding, an acknowledgement of the complexity of our shared history. The following day unfolded much like the one before it, filled with the warmth of familial bonds and the joy of shared moments. Ellen, welcomed back into the fold with open arms, found solace in the company of our children and the familiarity of our home. Throughout the day, unspoken glances and shared smiles spoke volumes, conveying sentiments that words alone could not express. In those stolen moments, I felt a connection that transcended the boundaries of time and circumstance, a reminder of the love that had once bound us together. As the day drew to a close and our children departed, leaving us alone in the house we had once called home, I felt a sense of peace settle over me. The crackling fire cast a warm glow over the room, illuminating the memories that lingered in the shadows. In that moment of quiet reflection, I realized that while our paths had diverged, the threads of our shared history remained woven into the fabric of our lives. And as Ellen and I stood together in the flickering light of the fire, I knew that, despite the trials we had faced, there was still hope for healing, for finding solace in the bonds that had once held us together. As we sat there, bathed in the warm glow of the fire, Ellen's words washed over me like a gentle wave, carrying with them the weight of years gone by. Her apology was unexpected, yet deeply appreciated, and I couldn't help but feel a sense of relief wash over me as she spoke. "You don't have to make amends to me," I reassured her, my voice soft with understanding. "You followed your dreams, and I loved you enough to allow it." There was a fleeting moment of surprise in her eyes, a flicker of disbelief at my response. But as I spoke, I saw the tension in her shoulders ease, a hesitant smile tugging at the corners of her lips. "It's a pity that I don't have a photo of her face at that moment," I thought to myself, noting the raw vulnerability in her expression. It was a rare glimpse of the woman I had once loved, the woman who still held a piece of my heart. "I really forgave you almost immediately," I continued, my voice tinged with warmth. "How could I keep you in my marriage when you wanted to leave? I couldn't keep you tied up or locked in a cage. If I forbade you to do something, you would simply hide it from me and move on." Her note, though initially painful, had served as a catalyst for closure, a final chapter in our shared history. And looking back, I could see that it had indeed kept things clean and tidy, sparing us the anguish of a bitter legal battle. As much as I may no longer be your husband, and as wary as I may be of trusting again, I am willing to try, I confessed, my voice steady with determination. Perhaps we can start by calling ourselves friends. Her eyes shimmered with unshed tears as she melted into my arms, a silent acknowledgement of the forgiveness that flowed between us. And as we held each other close, I felt a sense of peace settle over us, a tentative hope for the future. The next day, as she prepared to leave for a camping trip with her children, I watched her go with a mixture of sadness and relief. The past was behind us now, and though the road ahead was uncertain, I knew that we would find our way, together. Months passed, filled with concerts, conferences, and chance encounters. And with each passing day, I felt the walls between us begin to crumble, replaced by a tentative sense of trust and understanding. When Ellen asked me for a favor, her cheeks flushed with embarrassment. I couldn't help but smile. "Of course," I replied, my heart light with anticipation. "Sunday should be warm and beautiful. Let's take a ride on the Harley, just like old times." And so, on a sunny Sunday morning, we set out together, the wind in our hair and the open road stretching out before us. It was a day filled with laughter and reminiscence, a day that reminded me of all the reasons I had fallen in love with her in the first place. As we rode, her arms wrapped around me, her laughter echoing in the wind, I felt a sense of peace settle over me. For in that moment, I knew that no matter what the future held, we would face it together, partners in crime once more. Yes, Ellen and I found ourselves entwined once more, not just physically, but in those quiet moments shared over lunches, where conversations flowed as easily as the wine we sipped. Yet, we skirted around the future of our rekindling relationship, both of us steering clear of expectations or labels. Our focus, instead, was drawn towards the imminent celebration of our daughter's wedding, a topic that filled our exchanges with a blend of excitement and nostalgia. I took pride in financially contributing to the wedding, my career in music having been kind enough to afford me a comfortable life. Our past financial prudence meant I could cover the expenses without concern. It felt right, contributing to this pivotal moment in our daughter's life, ensuring it was as magical as she deserved. In the midst of our planning, Ellen and I realized we had inadvertently booked the same flight to Sydney for the wedding. To streamline our journey, I suggested she join me in the car I had arranged to the airport, an offer she accepted. The morning of our departure was a flurry of activity, Ellen arriving just as I was tidying up after my breakfast. Together, we embarked on our journey to Kennedy Airport, our anticipation for the trip as palpable as the early morning air. At the airport, a moment of serendipity unfolded at the check-in counter when I discovered the perks of my first-class ticket, a luxury I had afforded myself for the long haul ahead. Ellen, who was unaware of my booking class, found herself swept along with me through the express check-in and into the first-class lounge, courtesy of my impulsive upgrade for her. Some might judge the gesture as folly, a lavish expense on an ex-wife, but it felt right. There was a significance in ensuring Ellen's comfort on this journey, an unspoken acknowledgement of our shared past and the importance of this family milestone. The flight to Sydney was a blend of comfort and anticipation, the first-class amenities a backdrop to our shared excitement for the week ahead. Sydney greeted us with its vibrant energy, and we threw ourselves into the joy of celebrating our daughter's wedding. Our time in Australia was a tapestry of sightseeing, familial gatherings, and the poignant moment of walking our daughter down the aisle together. That act, a shared duty in giving away our daughter, was a profound moment of unity and pride. The wedding reception was a blur of joy, the culmination of which was my performance with her brothers, a musical tribute that felt like a symbolic gesture of our family's bond. Ellen, the boys, and I shared in the collective happiness of the day, our differences momentarily forgotten in the celebration of new beginnings. This trip, with all its layered emotions and shared experiences, seemed to blur the lines of our past conflicts, reminding us of the deep connections that once brought us together. It was a reminder that, despite the paths we had walked, both separately and together, we could still find moments of harmony and understanding in the milestones that defined our family's journey. As we gathered in the hotel lobby after the whirlwind of our daughter's wedding, our children wasted no time in addressing the unspoken tension between Ellen and me. Their curiosity hung in the air, thick with anticipation, as they prodded for answers about the nature of our relationship. Ellen, ever the diplomatic one, deflected their inquiries with a practiced ease, painting our dynamic as one of amicable coexistence rather than romantic entanglement. It was a narrative we had rehearsed, a story of leaving the past behind and embracing the present with open arms. Yet, beneath her composed facade, I could sense a flicker, a vulnerability, a lingering doubt that lingered in the shadows of her words. Our sons, however, were not easily swayed by surface-level explanations. With a perceptiveness that belied their youth, they delved deeper, probing for truths hidden beneath the veneer of platitudes. Their insistence was met with my own silence, a tacit acknowledgement of the complexities that underpinned our relationship. In the midst of their questioning, I found myself caught between the desire to shield them from the messy intricacies of adult relationships and the need to honor their right to transparency. It was a delicate balance, one that I navigated with caution, choosing my words with care as I sought to reassure them of our enduring bond. In the end, it was Ellen who broke the tension, her words carrying a weight that spoke volumes about the depth of her regret and the sincerity of her intentions. With a sincerity that tugged at my heartstrings, she laid bare her feelings, her vulnerability a stark contrast to the composed facade she often wore. Her confession hung in the air, a silent plea for understanding and forgiveness. And as I looked into her tear-filled eyes, I felt a swell of compassion, a recognition of the pain we had both endured in the wake of our separation. In that moment, the walls that had long stood between us crumbled, leaving behind a rawness that was both terrifying and liberating. As we retreated to our respective rooms, the weight of her words lingered, casting a shadow over the night. And as I lay in bed, the echoes of her confession reverberating in my mind, I couldn't help but wonder what the future held for us. But for now, I pushed aside those uncertainties, content to revel in the simple joy of being together once more, even if only for a fleeting moment in time. In the quiet aftermath of our daughter's wedding and the intense, revealing conversations that followed, Ellen's candid admission about our relationship and her desires for the future resonated deeply with me. She articulated everything with such clarity and emotional honesty that it left me reflecting on the complexities of our situation. Ellen highlighted how my actions and choices demonstrated care, attraction, and a deeper love than what might be expected from a mere fling. She pointed out the significance of sharing meals, enjoying each other's company on dates, and the profound respect I showed for our shared history, including taking on the financial responsibilities of our daughter's wedding without expecting her to contribute. Ellen's openness about her understanding of our current dynamics and her acceptance of the potential permanence of our relationship, or the lack thereof, was both disarming and poignant. She acknowledged her role in our separation and expressed a hope, devoid of pressure, that if I ever decided to propose again, her answer would be an enthusiastic yes. This confession, coupled with a tender goodnight kiss, left a lasting impression, stirring a mix of emotions and contemplations about the future within me. However, despite the depth of our connection and the undeniable love I felt for Ellen, a part of me was reluctant to relinquish the freedom and independence I had come to enjoy since our divorce. The allure of an open and uncommitted lifestyle, the excitement of new encounters, and the ego boost from the attention of other women were intoxicating. The reality was, my life post-divorce had evolved to include a series of romantic and sexual adventures that I wasn't ready to give up. The thought of settling down again, even with someone as familiar and beloved as Ellen, seemed premature. I pondered over the notion of possibly recommitting in our later years, but for the present moment, I was content with maintaining the status quo. Acting on this desire for independence and the thrill of new experiences, I reached out to a woman I had met recently, a vivid reminder of my current lifestyle preferences. Her enthusiastic response to my call and invitation was a clear indication that my adventures were far from over. As I set off to meet her, the contrast between this decision and the conversation with Ellen couldn't have been starker. It underscored the dichotomy of my feelings and the ongoing struggle between the comfort and depth of my past with Ellen and the exhilarating yet fleeting joys of my present lifestyle. This internal conflict and my decision to continue exploring casual relationships reflected a complex web of emotions and desires. It highlighted a not yet resolved journey towards understanding what I truly wanted for my future. And as I wrote off, the thought lingered that maybe, someday, the scales would tip in favor of rekindling what Ellen and I once had. But that day was not today.